Hello and welcome to the video. And in this video, I'm going to discuss my theory that Newton's ether is in fact one and the same thing as the virtual particle pairs that make up the background of space-time. According to Isaac Newton's point of view, um, the photons and other particles of the universe, it made no sense for them to be able to move through true nothingness. All right. That's why the luminous ether was proposed. And it does not make any sense for them to move through true nothingness, by the way. In the real universe, according to general relativity and quantum theory combined, there are, and we've actually discovered them now, so we know it's true. There are virtual particle pairs that make up the background of space time, and they're held under an electromagnetic bond that is described by tensor fields, but they're under extreme tension, and this tension is the background energy of the universe. All right, in certain situations, such as in the Casimir force experiment and near black holes, the virtual particle pairs can be broken apart and escape one another. Um, but at any rate, um, that is the luminous ether that Newton and others at the time proposed. That is what holds the universe together, and that is what allows electromagnetic waves such as light and other particles such as protons and neutrons and electrons to move around in the universe and have reference to one another. If empty space was true nothingness, you would cease to exist if you entered empty space. So the concept of true nothingness is a complete contradiction. There has never been nor ever will be such a thing as true nothingness. In fact, the word nothing is not even considered a noun when it's correctly defined. All right. So because a noun is a thing, but nothing is no thing. All right. So his luminous ether was actually dead on exactly right. So why did the Michelson-Morley experiment fail to detect the luminous ether? Because they incorrectly interpreted the luminous ether as some kind of fluid filling space, whereas the real luminous ether is the background of space-time. You're not going to see it except when it breaks free, which is not going to happen in the Michelson-Morley experiment of aiming a photon through a few reflecting mirrors and trying to calculate the speed of light in both directions simultaneously. Not going to make a big enough difference in that experiment to detect it. It does make a big enough difference in the Casimir force experiment, and it makes a big enough difference allegedly in black holes over a very long time period to cause black holes to lose mass through Hawking radiation, assuming Hawking's theory is correct. But now they've actually individually detected the virtual particle pairs of the background of the universe, verifying Newton's theory of the luminous ether. Isaac Newton was incredibly far ahead of his time. He also is responsible for the first particle theory of light, but he didn't understand that light and electromagnetism were the same thing. The only form of electromagnetism that anyone knew how to quantify yet at Newton's time was lightning, and they didn't know that lightning and magnetism were actually related things yet. It wasn't until a couple centuries later when Faraday and other researchers discovered that lightning and magnetism were related, and then later discovered that magnetism and light were related. Um, because Newton couldn't solve every problem in human history all at once, even though he was allegedly called the last man to know everything. But he was incredibly far ahead of his time, And if he had got the head start that Einstein got, he might have solved the whole equation of the universe. Because Einstein got a massive head start compared to where Newton started with. Newton started knowing nothing about the universe. I mean, everything they thought they knew before Newton was wrong. Whereas at least Einstein had all of Newton's work to lean on. Einstein is often incorrectly um, credited with discovering black hole physics, and that's couldn't be farther from the truth. John Mitchell used Newton's law to prove that black holes existed around 80 years before Albert Einstein was even born. And we still use the exact same equation that John Mitchell used, which was Newton's escape velocity formula to describe the Schwarzschild radius of a black hole. That was discovered by John Mitchell, not Albert Einstein. And nobody gives that man the credit for his work.